What's up, friends? Fellow card collectors, Card Hobbies here, and it's time for another off the cuff. It's been a while since I've done one. It probably won't be a super in depth rambling 30-40 minute affair like some of the off the cuffs I've done have become, but I just wanted to touch on a few things. First of all, contests. There's a lot of contests on the tube right now and in the community. Not only my 500 subscriber contest, which I just hit 500 subscribers this morning, so go me. But also, Amio Tenny has a 750 subscriber contest. Vintage Oddball Cards has a contest going on. Joey Brings It has a contest going on. Classic Cards has a contest going on. Scove's Big Hits has a contest going on. And there may be a few others that I'm not recalling off the top of my head. Of course, this is off the cuff, so I don't have a script written for this. I'm just winging it. But yeah, so many contests going on right now. So this first part of off the cuff is going to be a contest entry for Joey Brings It out there in Cali, West Coast. But Joey Brings It wants us to do a response about the greatest rotations of all time. And he mentioned the 1953 Indians rotation, which, is one of the greatest rotations of all time. Consider it's got 3 Hall of Famers on it. And Early Win, Bob Lemon, Bob Feller, and then you also had Mike Garcia on the team. And then, like, one of the caveats is you can't pick the 90s Braves rotation of or any rotation that had Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz. The fourth pitcher in that was always just some no name, whether it was Jason Marquis or Kevin Millwood or Steve Avery. I say no name, but the fourth starter was always a big notch below those big 3. But we can't pick the Braves, so that was one of the caveats. So the one I'm going to go with was, I was going to go with the Dodgers, but I noticed there was a couple entries that I'd picked the Dodgers with Koufax, Sutton, and Drysdale. I'm going to go with the 2011 Philadelphia Phillies, and as a Braves fan, that kind of pains me to pick a Phillies. But that rotation was pretty sick. They had Halladay, Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt, Cole Hamels, and Vance Worley. Was that Vance Worley's rookie season? Might have been his second year. But yeah, I think 3 of them, Lee, Halladay, and Hamels. I think 3 of them finished top 5 in Cy Young voting that year. I think Kershaw won the Cy Young that year, but you had Halladay, Cliff Lee, and Hamels that all finished top 5 Cy Young that season. And that's one thing about the Braves rotation. I don't think each of them finished top 5. I'm sure Maddox was in the top 5 a lot. But there was years where Maddox won it. There was years where the year that Smoltz won it, I don't think Glavine had a really great year that season. But yeah, so that's pretty amazing to have top 5. And then Vance Worley had an amazing season. You had Roy Oswalt, whose season, if you look at the numbers, wasn't that great, but you're talking about a veteran. So it was an older staff. Hamels was, Hamels was what, 26, 27 around that time. So he was in his prime. Vance Worley was a rookie or a second year player, so he was a brand new player, and he had an amazing season that year. And then you had the veterans, Oswalt, Halladay, and Cliff Lee. And Cliff Lee and Halladay, Cliff Lee when Cliff Lee was on, that dude was nasty. But yeah, that's my pick for Joey Brings It's contest. I'll be doing a few more contest entries in the coming days, so keep an eye out for that. The NFL Draft. Let's talk about the NFL Draft. The NFL Draft, actually first, let me mention my contest. Contest update before I go on to other subjects. The My brain's still in the NFL draft. Sorry about that. My 500 subscriber contest. So far I've had, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10 video entries for it. For you making videos, make sure to hashtag it with, hashtag CH500. That way I can find it. I'll throw up a list of videos that I've confirmed that I've got your entry. Maybe I'll scroll them up on this in post editing. So maybe I'll like pause it here and make a funny face or something and scroll them all up like. But yeah, so if you didn't see your name on that list, hit me up, drop me a comment, say, hey, look, I made a video response. But the easiest way is to hashtag it with that hashtag CH500, because then I can just search YouTube for CH500, click on recently uploaded, and it will have everybody's video that made a video response. So I appreciate everybody that's made a response so far. I've been absolutely enjoying them. It's great to hear interesting things about everybody, and everybody has something interesting about them. You may think you're the most boring person in the world, but I guarantee there's something that's interesting about you. And even if it's something as mundane as, you like fishing, you like mountain biking, you like, walking around a pond 20 times a day. Those are interesting facts, and it's the weird things about us that make us interesting. A lot of things, you may not want to share because you think, oh, people will consider me weird for that. Well, the weirdness is what makes people interesting. If we all did the same things and we're all the same people, that'd be boring. People need to be different. You can't all conform and do the societal norms and be afraid to do the weird things or to have the weird interests. To do the, growing up when you're in high school or whatever, and like a lot of nerdy pursuits, that would be considered nerdy. Those are things that make people interesting. Were you in math club? Did you play in band? Were you in drama club? Were you an actor in plays? A lot of times things like that, when you're in high school, especially the time I was in high school, that stuff was considered nerdy. If you weren't, doing sports or sports stuff, then like if you were in academic clubs or debate club, math club, science club, whatever, you were considered a nerd. If you were like, rebellious and listened to punk rock music or grunge or metal and dressed a certain way, or if you were goth or whatever, people thought you were strange. You dressed different, you dressed weirdly. People thought you were weird, you were a weirdo, but that's what makes people interesting. I know some of you had maybe a goth phase or a punk phase when you were a kid, or, running around in Jankos and your Adidas jumpsuits and crank it out and bang it out to new metal. You don't have to hide that stuff. All that stuff is what makes us human and what makes us interesting. And that's why I've enjoyed this contest so much. Once again, appreciate everybody that's made a video response so far. Remember, you have until the 30th of April, midnight, to get your entries in. So, because we will be doing the drawing that first weekend in May, if not May 1st itself. So, yeah, thank you all for supporting me, getting me to 500. Really appreciate it. Next up, and probably the last thing I'm going to talk about today, is the NFL draft. Yeah, I got my Dolphins hat on today. So, big draft for the Dolphins. They have 3 first-round picks. Their first pick's at number 5. It's funny, people are like, oh, the Dolphins can't even tank properly. So like everybody knew the Dolphins were going to tank this year, right? From the get-go, when they traded away all their players, all their big players, and then they got blown out the first 2 weeks of the season. They were 0-5, 0-6 before they finally won a game. It was funny because like if y'all remember the first 2 weeks of last season, it was hilarious. Like people were talking about the Dolphins are a disgrace. They're the worst team ever on a football field. You had all these articles like the Dolphins the worst team ever. Is this ethical? Is this moral? What the Dolphins are doing, and they go out and win 5 games. They go out and win 5 games. And this is a team that people were like, oh, this is the worst team ever. Like, this is the worst team ever. And they go out and win 5 games and beat the Patriots in the last game of the season, which was awesome, by the way. It's it's like no matter how bad your team is, if you got Ryan Fitzpatrick on your team, you're probably gonna win a game, at least one game that year, because Fitzmagic will at least he'll have that Fitzmagic moment where he just goes all out and just has a great game. Yeah, big draft for the Dolphins. This is a big part of their rebuilding. And, there's been a lot of discussion over what quarterback should the Dolphins take. It's been a foregone conclusion. The Bengals are going to take Joe Burrow from LSU in the first pick, which leaves the Dolphins as the first team that are chasing a quarterback on the board. Now, you always have scenarios where another team chasing a quarterback will find a way to trade up above the Dolphins to take the quarterback of their choice. So who do the Dolphins take? Do they go with Tua? Do they go with, I don't ever say Tua's last name because I'm afraid I'll mispronounce it. Tagovailoa, I think it's how you pronounce it. But do they take, Tua? Do they take Justin Herbert from Oregon? Do they take a chance on Love? Do they wait until the later part of the draft and go for somebody like, Fromm or Eason? It is what it is, and I compare it to the draft where they took Tannehill, and I didn't like the Tannehill pick. So Tannehill was he had a good senior season at Texas A&M, but there was just something about Tannehill that I didn't really care too much about. My favorite quarterback that draft was actually Russell Wilson, because I'd watched Russell Wilson play every year, as because of me being a Hurricanes fan. He was playing at NC State for most of his career. A lot of people remember him playing at Wisconsin, but he was a senior transfer at Wisconsin. He only played one season at Wisconsin. The most of his career was played at NC State. He played 3 seasons there. He started as a freshman, and I was impressed with him even as a freshman quarterback. I was like, man, this kid is good. This kid's a baller. And that year that they drafted Tannehill, I was really hoping they'd wait and draft Russell Wilson in late first round, but they didn't. They went with Tannehill. I think they had the 7th pick that year. And nothing against Tannehill, but he just didn't have that it factor. And the it factor is what I'm looking for. So when people ask me, what quarterback are you looking for? Would you rather have Justin Herbert? This guy's a beast of a human being. He's 6'6". He's the prototypical size quarterback that people have drooled over in the NFL for ages. Big arm, all that. Workout warrior, very smart. Justin Herbert in 15 years ago would be like the no doubt number 1 pick. Even with Joe Burrow in there, just because of his measurables. But for me, my choice would be Tua. Why would I pick Tua? Because Tua has that it factor. Yes, he's coming off a hip injury. You don't know how his mobility is. But the kid is a winner. He's a gamer. He goes out there. If you watch his games when he played at Alabama, yes, Alabama is a juggernaut. Yes, he's surrounded by talent. Yes, he had Jerry Jeudy to throw to. But there is no doubt they brought this kid in as a freshman into a national championship game, and he won the game. They brought him in over Jalen Hurts, who is also one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. Now, I don't know whether Jalen Hurts is going to go up, but even Jalen Hurts has that it factor. Joe Burrow has that it factor. I don't see the it factor in Justin Herbert. Now, that is not to say that Justin Herbert's not going to be a good NFL quarterback. Justin Herbert may turn out to be a great Hall of Fame NFL quarterback. But for me and my standpoint now, pre-draft, I would go with Tua. But, it's not my choice. I don't work for the Dolphins. I'm not in that war room. I'm not doing that draft. So whoever the Dolphins draft, I'm going to support 100%. They draft Tua, they draft Love, they draft Eason, they draft Tua, Herbert. No matter who they draft from, whoever they pick, I'm behind 100% because you're joining my Dolphins. You'll be a Dolphin, and I'll root for you. I'll root for you the best. You on that field as a Dolphin, you on that field in that uniform, you're my boy. So, yeah, I really hope the Dolphins pick Tua. But if they don't, it's all good. I'm not going to be all upset about it because it's something I can't control. And I always say you can only control two things. It's your thoughts and your actions. So if your team picks somebody in the draft that you don't agree with, don't get upset about it. Just be like, I don't agree with that pick. And move on, because you really don't have control over who your team drafts in the NFL draft. The best thing you can do is welcome that person into your team, your fandom, with open arms, and and root for them. Root for them to do well. Wish they will do well. I remember when Donovan McNabb got drafted, all the boos. Darrelle Revis. Didn't Darrelle Revis get booed when he got drafted? The dude's a Hall of Fame quarterback, defensive back. I hate saying quarterback because it sounds like it's too close to quarterback. Cornerback. Sometimes people can't pick up what exactly they're trying to say. So, but yeah, Darrelle Revis, he was booed. Some of those New York fans, they're rough on their draft picks. They let their team know how they feel about their draft pick. It's okay to disagree with your team's draft pick. It is. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with who your team drafts. I really disagreed when the Dolphins drafted Chad Henne. I did not like Chad Henne. I didn't like the Ted Ginn pick. I'm like, why are you picking a special teams guy so early in the draft? I thought we should have drafted Brady Quinn, but heck, that may have even been wrong. Actually, pretty was wrong because Brady really didn't do much in the NFL either. Well, yeah, so all we can do is watch the draft and cheer who our team drafts. If your team drafts, say, center or a guard, at number 18, 19, wherever your team's picking in the draft, that's not a sexy pick, but cheer for those players. Wish they do well, because if they do well, your team will be all the better for it. So, there's always a lot of moaning and groaning around the NFL draft, and that's one of the things I don't really care for all that much, because really you're a fan of the team. You really don't have any control over who your team drafts. You just got to put faith in the management of the team, the coaches, and that they're going to get a player that they feel like they can develop and turn into a contributing member of the team. And that's all you can handle. So I'm going to leave it at that. Let's see. I've been going for 18 minutes, 17 minutes, something like that. I said it was going to be short and not 30 minutes. Well, I made it under 20 minutes. So appreciate y'all watching this off the cuff. Remember to check out my 500 subscriber contest. The link will be in the description below. Make sure you're checking out the community, because there's a ton of contests going on. Like I said, I'll be doing more responses coming up. Also, there will be a link for Joey Briggs' contest in the description below as well, since this was a contest entry for his contest as well. So, appreciate y'all watching. This is the Card Obvious. Remember, you can only control two things: your thoughts and your actions. So stay positive, keep ripping them packs, keep being a part of the community. And one of the things you can't control is who your team picks in the NFL draft. So don't get too worked up about it. Remember, y'all stay safe. Y'all take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. And I'll catch you later. Peace.